Medicine is certainly one of the areas that attracts our attention the most because it has to do with the length of our life, the quality of our life, and certainly artificial intelligence is set to play a big role. So with me today, we have Dr. Victor Hanson-Smith. How did you end up in artificial intelligence?
Neurodegenerative diseases have played a significant role in my life. My father had Parkinson's disease, and an aunt-like figure in my life had ALS, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. And so as I learned more about these different kinds of neurodegenerative diseases, I came to realize that my background in computer science and molecular biology and artificial intelligence equipped me with a really rich tool set to enter this problem space and potentially make a really big impact.
I think at this stage, it would be really interesting to get an overview of what Verge Genomics does and how it is making an impact in the world.
Verge Genomics is a venture-backed drug discovery company located in South San Francisco, California. We develop new drugs for neurodegenerative diseases, including ALS and Parkinson's disease. We combine artificial intelligence and machine learning with other recent advances in molecular and cell biology to create what I would call a full-stack drug discovery company.
What it is that people suffer of? How is their life impacted by these diseases?
So, neurodegenerative diseases are really one of the last frontiers of human medicine. And the reason being that the brains are really difficult to study. It's not like skin or blood where we can easily extract tissue from living patients. And the second reason why these diseases are hard is because things like ALS and Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's, dementia, they're genetically complex. And so that means they're caused by hundreds of genes potentially going awry. So this makes a real challenge for identifying the mechanisms we want to drug. There's about 5,000 people in the US who are diagnosed with ALS every year. That's about 2 people per 100,000. Parkinson's disease is much more prevalent. There's 7 to 10 million people worldwide that have this disease. And Alzheimer's disease is even more prevalent. There's about 5.5 million people just in the US that have Alzheimer's disease.
Why there is no cure? What is the reason, in your opinion, that we haven't got yet there?
Sure, it's certainly not a lack of people trying. There have been billions of dollars poured into this problem. I think the primary reason why therapies for neurodegeneration haven't had more of a breakthrough on the market has to do with lack of efficacy and drug discovery companies essentially targeting the wrong molecular therapeutic targets.
Why do you believe the established pharmaceutical companies are not yet coming up with the right solutions, even though they've spent a lot of money?
I think it's a combination of both. It's both a scientific model that is a little bit outdated, and then a status quo that's in place with a lot of process and money behind it. So changing that status quo is challenging. My kind of worldview is that for complex diseases like neurodegeneration, this traditional drug model may never actually find a solution.
So why is the approach taken by Verge Genomics different, and how is it better?
So at Verge Genomics, we use artificial intelligence and machine learning combined with our in-house wet lab capabilities to predict genes that can be activated or deactivated with drugs in order to have a therapeutic effect in human patients. And so what's different about what we're doing compared to a traditional approach is we're using AI and machine learning that intersects with systems biology so we can more efficiently and more quickly find novel targets. But then we also have in-house model systems that take advantage of advances in stem cell biology and other molecular and cell advances so that our model systems, we believe, will be more translatable to humans.
Can you help us understand how artificial intelligence specifically helps to find first the target, and then whether or not AI is involved in choosing the bullet?
We begin with post-mortem patient brains. This is brain tissue that's been extracted and dissected from people diagnosed with various neurodegenerative diseases. And based on this data about RNA for all genes in the genome, we can build a model of what networks of genes are disrupted in these diagnosed patients. Ultimately, this allows us to have what we call maybe like a disease signature, a molecular disease signature. And so our goal using machine learning and our wet labs is to reverse this disease signature to healthy type levels. So we essentially construct a feature matrix, which is a data structure common to this problem space. Our feature matrix has one row for every gene in the human genome, so that's approximately 30,000 rows. And then the features we have are proprietary, but we have hundreds of features that describe the properties of these genes. And so we spend a lot of time perturbating through different combinations of training sets. And also at the classification algorithm step, we try a lot of different classification algorithms, including really simple things like linear regression, but also more complicated things like TensorFlow and a range of approaches in between.
In order to create their ranking, is their ranking completely an automation process, or there is human intelligence involved?
It's a combination of applying methods that are automated, but combining that with intelligent curation of data and also intelligent application of domain knowledge. So in this particular problem, developing the training sets is where a lot of curation energy is invested on our part, and those training sets make a big difference in the ultimate rankings.
How eventually this type of company monetizes?
Verge Genomics' goal is to take a drug to clinic, hopefully in the next 18 months. And how we monetize this, especially in the neurodegenerative space, nearly all the big pharma companies in many ways have given up research and development in the neurodegenerative disease space. So if you just look through the news over the past 2 years, there's been these several spectacular multi-billion-dollar failures. So as we speak, there are really no drugs on market that can cure neurodegenerative diseases, and there are only a few drugs that can slow the progression of some of these diseases. I think a dream for our company in the next few years would be to do another round of fundraising and then ultimately take a drug through clinical trials on our own without support from a bigger institution.
Is there any research that your company or other companies or other entities are doing for predicting the disease, the insurgence of the disease?
The goal there is to have better patient identification and biomarker readouts before the symptoms develop in a serious way. And therefore, you could then take a drug like what Verge is developing in almost like a prophylactic way.
If you had to say, where is the bottleneck right now? And if the bottleneck concerns artificial intelligence, what do you expect that it will improve in the next 2 to 3 years?
I think there's several bottlenecks. One is simply acquiring data, training data. So the machine learning and artificial intelligence can make accurate predictions. Maybe the other bottleneck is the ways in which systems biology are intersected with these AI approaches. So I think looking forward, I think advances in this space are going to come from AI and machine learning methods that can incorporate that full stack of cell and molecular biology rather than focusing on single layers.
You are looking at bringing to the clinical trials in a year or year and a half a molecule for curing one of these very painful neuro diseases. When people that are affected by this will see this drug in their hands, in your opinion?
Well, we're still a few years out from clinical trial, like I said, but I think in a best case scenario, people could see things on market in 3 to 5 years, maybe. So we're currently investing significant resources into our lead program, which is myotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS, and also in Parkinson's disease. We're expanding into other therapeutic indications, but I think going forward into 2020, you should expect to see major significant press releases from Verge around our ALS program.